Gareth Wheeler and Terry Dunfield with you. It is match day tomorrow at BMO Field, 5 p.m. as the Philadelphia Union roll into town. Terry, a big matchup, 1 versus 4, but there's also just 5 games left in the season. You've been there, done that before. Are you looking for consistency at this time of year, or is there something else that you're looking for in terms of form?
Look, points-wise, TFC are in a fantastic position, but you also want continuity going into the playoffs, but not at the risk of players' health. But you want to be able to, this time of the year, pick your best team, and hopefully TFC can start to do that. Players will start coming back from injury.
It looks like the coaching staff is closer to settling on a preferred 11. There are still some changes to be made, and one player that we'll be looking out for tomorrow, Sebastian Javinko, remains questionable for the matchup against the Philadelphia Union. Hasn't regularly trained all week. Do you tend to proceed with caution still, Terry, and maybe wait for next week? There's 2 games coming up next week.
100%, especially with that groin. It's a tricky area, and it's one you feel like you can play through, but you know what? When you are playing through it, you're only playing at 70-80%, and it's also not healing. I think Greg Vanney, deep down, he knows his best team, but he might have to be a little bit more patient for it to come. There's other players that can step in. I think Osorio and that number 10 at the top of the point, he's been fantastic.
Like the way that Jordan Hamilton played in the attacking role last week as well. I look for him to keep his spot in the team this week. One player that we know will not be taking part is Armando Cooper. MLS has levied a 1-game suspension for kicking out at Felipe Martins last week in the game against the Red Bulls. So he won't be available, but I just wonder if there could be some tinkering in the midfield. We've watched all week long Benoit Cheyrou has been an absolute boss during training.
And when he played as well through the summer months, he was fantastic. Unfortunately, he picked up an injury, and it was good timing. Michael Bradley came back, and you know what, those two, they have to be able to play together. There's so much quality there. We saw also in the last game that Michael Bradley got forward a little bit more. Possibly you could play those two in a double pivot almost, one playing on the left, one playing on the right.
Cooper's intriguing though, isn't he? It's unfortunate he can't play because he probably would have been, or you could have given him a fair shout to start this week.
And also I think for this game against the Union, he would have been a really good fit playing up against Carroll. It was a little petulant what he did, but the disciplinary board with so many different TV angles was never going to miss that.
Let's hear from one of Toronto FC's midfielders, Will Johnson, head of the game against the Union.
Yeah, I think this group has always had a couple of identities. We wanted to be hard to play against, good defensively, and hard to beat. And so our fight is never in question. Defensively, I think we let ourselves down and didn't quite live up to our identity that we wanted to establish early in the year in terms of being hard to play against on the defensive side of the ball. But our character and our ability to continue fighting no matter the situation is something that is there and has always been there and will continue to be there.
Terry, let's talk about this matchup against the Union specifically. What are you looking out for as being a key to success?
Having watched the last game against Portland, I thought Audie's physical presence up front caused a whole bunch of problems, especially on crosses, and Josie Altidore is a similar type to him. And if I'm Justin Morrow or Beitajor, don't turn down any opportunities to get balls into the box. And once that ball does get into the box, if I'm a midfielder, gamble, maybe try to get an extra number in that box, pick up a second ball. I think that's an area where the Union struggled a little bit last week.
The Union are winless in 3, and they concede goals, 47 on the year, 27 away from home, so they do ship them. And the key to the Union attack is Tranquillo Barnetta. I look at a player like Michael Bradley being key here, and even a Benoit Cheyrou coming in. If you limit him from the number 10 role, then you really limit Philadelphia's ability to go forward.
Yeah, 100%. Barnett is a very good player. He spent most of his time in the Bundesliga. He's 31 now. Maybe he's lost half a yard of pace, but you know what? He's got 75 caps for Switzerland. This guy has a ton of experience, and not only can he unlock a back four, but he's good at creating a yard of space to try to get shots off, and he can score himself. Also, if I'm Michael Bradley, I try to dictate to him, make him chase me all over the pitch.
The midfield matchup is going to be massive. It's a big one, 5 p.m. Saturday at BMO Field. You can watch on TSN 2. Listen to these two guys on TSN 1050 radio as well.